My name is Jacob Harrison Long, and I'm president of American Woolen Company here in Stafford Springs, Connecticut. I'm into traditions, and traditions like beer, like food and beverage, traditions are what makes life worth living. And textiles, apparel, footwear, those are the traditions that can stimulate conscious consumption as opposed to just consuming. You are collecting traditions. I was talking to someone the other day, and I was talking about you, and I'll tell you why. And I think I discussed it with you. We were talking about another American brand. And I said, you know, what WeatherWool has done is focused on all four of the salient attributes that make a product worth a purchase. Materials, material integrity. You're not disrespecting, you're actually highlighting the materials aspect and the value. Number two, design. How much work have you spent in design, trying to find the right design? Number three, branding. Obviously, branding is a critical part of what you're doing, but you don't go overboard in the branding of the product. You find authentic consumers who value the product. They're not paid to wear it. They want to pay you to wear it. And number four, manufacturer. Who else but you highlight the manufacturers in your supply chain, knowing that by highlighting them, you lift up the industry? Because at the end of the day, if you were to put us all not in the spotlight and put us in the shadows, it wouldn't do the industry any good. I mean, the industry needs to be highlighted. And so you've hit all 4 points.
For sure.
Materials, design, branding, and manufacture.
The fashion people pay no attention to performance. And coming as a totally non-fashion guy, kind of like all I ever cared about was what it does. And they don't care about that at all. It shocks me still. And so I feel like that's a piece of education. That's something that the people in the rag trade need to focus on. Okay, what it looks like is important, but how can you not focus on what it can do? What it can do is totally huge.
Arriving here in 2014 and making a few phone calls, trying to bring American Woolen out of suiting, sport coats, and trousers, it's scratchy. What? Wool is, I'm allergic to wool. You're what? I'm allergic to wool. In 24 years in Europe, I never heard anybody allergic to wool, ever.
Oh.
Ever. Never in France, never in Italy, never in England, ever. Never, ever, ever. And it made me realize the gem of American Woolen is that we have the equipment and the processes to remove that scratchiness. Mm-hmm. Because the European mills are so proficient at what they do, you don't have that. But as Giuseppe can tell you, you can use a pretty coarse micron, but if you finish it, if you spin the yarn correctly, and you weave the fabric correctly, and you finish the fabric correctly, you should not have any. You're not allergic to wool. You're allergic because the fibers are scratching you. Ciao.
That's Giuseppe waving to us with the cap.
My name is Giuseppe Monteleone. I am the Vice President of Production and Operation here at American Woolen. So I basically came here in 1988, and I worked for Loro Piana for about probably 32, 33 years before Warren Corporation became American Woolen. It's an interesting job. I've been doing this since I was 16 years old. And I'm 60 years old, so you can do the math. So you can see for how long I've been in this business. So this is what I've been doing all my life. This is the blending department. So we have a wool warehouse, which is outside this building here, where we store the wool. Wool comes in trucks. So we unloading the wool, put them in the warehouse. We have a designated spot for each lot, each customer. So what we have here is we have a scale.
I love this.
And you can see this is probably over 100 years old scale. Scale goes from 0 to 100, which is represent 100%. And then, we open up this, and boom, down. Goes down to that conveyor belt. Then you move the conveyor belt, okay, all the way down to here. This is the spike apron. This thing here goes up, and with the spikes here, picks up the wool and bring them into the picker machine. The wool runs inside here. Here we have a big cylinder with 6 or 7 rolls. They have big spikes. And when the fiber goes in, basically opens. And by doing that, it's basically release some of the dust, some of the veggies that are in, anything that don't belongs into the wool. So this is the first cleaning. Every week we grease, oiling, checking for noisings, things that don't belong.
So this is
Here.
before the carting. What is this called?
This is the picker machine. It's a big cylinder that runs fast, and then you have a bunch of rolls on the top that basically open up all the fiber and release all the dust. You will see when the machine is running, not with this particular wool, but when we have like a wool that's got a lot of edgy, the floor here it's loaded. Mm-hmm. So basically, most of the veg comes out here, and the rest comes out in the carding department. So the wool comes out from this machine here. There's a vacuum here that sucks the wool out and runs into this unit here and drops down like a cascade. And then this is what we call the sombrero, because it looks like a sombrero. And it turns around, so the wool drops down, this turns, and then we have 4 spray nozzles that sprays that emulsion that we make in this tank over here, and that sprays on top of the wool. So basically we apply oil. It's a solution of oil, water, and anti-static. So you can see here, this is above here, there's one room, and then there's another room over here. So when the wool, depends where we go, because one is bigger than the other ones, depends on the size of the blend. So if we have a 4,000 or 5,000 pounds blends, we go into the big room, and then from that we go into the carding. So when the wool is upstairs, then we have to bring back down again, because that is the first run. So even if it's just one quality, 100% wool, white, no other mixing, it requires 2 runs. The first runs, it's basically to open up the wool for the first time. Wool goes upstairs, and then we drop down here, and we basically redo the same passage of the first one, but from here we go into the carding department. How long this wool is? Probably about 4 inches.
Right, exactly. That's what we shoot for.
Yep. So it's beautiful. And if you see from before and after, you saw this before you sent. It's like a day and night.
Oh yeah.
It's like a day and night. You see by processing through the carding system, you see how much clean and white the wool is. Yeah, you have some waste because you have a process.
Right. It started out 43,000 pounds, and it ended up 21,500.
Yeah, normally you lose 50%.
Right, and that was right at 50%.
Yeah. That's why, in a scour format, you're losing a lot less. But even when you scour, and then you retain scour wool, you're still losing.
Sure.
Probably 50% or a little bit less. So.
Giuseppe seal of approval.
No, it's a beautiful, beautiful wool.
Good stuff.
Yeah. It's just 2 other mill left beside us, and that's it. When you lose this, you're basically losing an operation that it cannot be, restart again, because nobody wants, restarting a wool mill. It's very difficult. It's very difficult because, you can invest and bring all equipment that you want, but if you don't have the right people with the experience, it's very difficult. So we all having, fighting challenges every single day.
You need apprentice.
Yeah. It's I like, because this is what I've been doing all my life, so I would like to transfer all my knowledge to somebody else, because I don't want to take everything with me, because I went through a lot in my life in this kind of business, and I'm trying to pass much as I can to other people, but you have to find the right people that want to absorb all the information, and you want to have somebody that feel the passion that you have it. Because if you don't have a passion, and the most important things, like in any type of job, you have to be curious. When I start to do this work, I didn't learn it just because somebody was telling me, oh, you have to do this, you have to do. No, because I was so curious about the operation. That's how I pick up all my, my supervisor, and when I started and I was learning in the carding, he would never teach me anything, because he was afraid that I maybe was taking his position or something. So I was always watching from far away. I was a carding operator, watching from far away and see, okay, that's how he's doing, and little by little, absorbing all the information. When my turn came, I tried to do things. I mess a lot of times, until I become very comfortable, because that's how it is. And but it took a long time. I'm still learning every day. Not that I know everything. For me, every day it's a new day. So every day I find some challenges, and sometimes I feel no problem because I have the experience, and I think, yeah, that can be done, no problem. But sometimes I have my own doubts. So I have to be, thinking and make sure that, I know what I'm going to do. So it's very, very challenging. You learn every day here. I mean, throughout the mill, we have 3 buildings, between the woolen spinning, the weaving and finishing, there's a lot going on, and, no one here can say, I know everything. You know a little bit, but, you're still learning every day.
I have to compliment you. This place is so clean.
Yeah. Clean tells who you are and how you work and how you're processing things. If you're working in a dirty environment, you know that you work sloppy, you don't care about anything, and you're just running through things, just because you have to do it. But clean, it's important, it's very important. Oh, this is a carding machine. All right, so basically what we have here, we have a fresh blend that we just made this morning. You can take a look here. This is nice, clean open top. That basically is the same open top that you're gonna get.
We brought some, we'll show you.
Yeah, this is the same thing. Yeah, this is 4 1/4 inch cat. So, and it's gonna be basically similar to the what you're gonna send it to us. So the wool was just made this morning. You can see it's still wet. There's a moisture.
Oh yeah,
here.
yep.
Because it's important, because after washing, scouring and washing, basically all the lanolin and the grease that is in the wool, it's gone. And for us, in order to processing that again, we have to apply an emulsion with the percentage of oil, water, and anti-static, because when the wool is processing to the machine, high speed roll, it can carry static energy. So we want to make sure that we take that out
Right.
of the equation. Otherwise, we will have a lot of problem.
Yeah.
Fiber is going to stick on rolls, and it's going to create a problem. It depends on the process. So a lot of process, like a fiber. But it's wow. You see how much dust there's inside the wall? This came out from that, at the bottom of the machine. As you can see, right now, this is what we call roving. There is no strength. It breaks very easy. When we go to spinning, that we apply twist, now it's become strong, and that's how it become yarn. But from here, basically, there's no strength. Very easy, break. We have to make sure that we monitor the grams per meters. We take 100 meters and then we weigh on the scale, and we have to make sure that 100 meters has to match this number here. The next set, we check it. If we see that there is some problem, we have to immediately take an action and make an adjustment. We're going to go to the spinning department now, where we're spinning the yarn. So basically from the carding, the bobbins comes here, and then we apply twist, and as you can see now, you see how strong it is? And you see how perfect it is. You look at the yarn. You know, you don't see any breakages. Everything is perfect. That means we make a good quality from carding in order to make sure that here it runs perfect. After spinning, we bring the yarn into that steam box over there. See, this is the yarn before steaming. Look at that. You see? You cannot work with this kind of yarn. See how the yarn is wet, feel warm and yeah. See? And now basically, look at from before and after. So basically, this is what we make. From here we go to this, because this is for the next operation, for the dressing department and the weaving department. In your case, this goes straight down to MTL. Right. This is one part of the finishing department. So we got two floors here. The first floor is a wet finishing, so all the cloth that is processing here is wet. And then gets dry, and then go to the floor above for the final process. The next step is a washing machine here, this big washer that we have here. And after carbonize, we have to neutralizing
Right, of course.
the cloth. Then we're gonna dry the cloth again, and then we're gonna bring it into the Woolen mill. So basically here, this is a big washer. The cloth goes in, and it get washed with water and soap, and take any dust, any oil, anything that been basically the cloth took through the weaving
Is it just
process.
regular soap?
Yes, through the weaving process, and it's gonna get washed, gonna get dry, and then we're gonna bring it into the Woolen mill.
Now, they were talking about the quality of the water.
Yes.
Does that come into here?
Yeah, I mean, you want to make sure that the quality of, we have a filtration plant. Our water comes from the pond that is
Right.
on the other side of the mill.
Right.
We're taking the water in, we filter, we have a big filter, we bring it down into the finishing department.
Okay.
Yes. You see the veggies here?
Okay.
You see when I do like this, how they
Right.
disappear? Because they
Right.
are basically turned into dust.
Right.
Now, they still on the cloth,
Right.
but when they go to the next step, they're
Right.
gonna disappear. So, as you can see, right now, this is after weaving. But then we're gonna run it through the Woolen mill, and we have to basically felting. And we're gonna shrink the width and the length, and the cloth's gonna look completely different. Before felting and after.
Wow.
This is the same cloth. You touch this,
Yeah.
and then you touch this.
Oh, boy.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's this basically what this machine does.
Right.
And this is basically after fooling.
Now, the fulling, does that break up the fibers? So does it weaken the fabric?
No, because basically
Strengthens
It will straighten
it will become all like a one solid piece.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is felting.
Yes. Because the scale that is in the wool fiber,
Right.
basically that's how it felt. You know, you look at you look at that one string of fiber, and you see all the scales.
Right.
When you're felting, all these scales are interlocking with the next fiber, with the next fiber.
Yep.
Now everything locks together. Boom, and never gonna fall apart. While here, yes, you can break it here, but you cannot break here. I mean, you can make a jacket like this, it can last you a lifetime. Because it's so tight together that cannot break. Even if you try to pull that, there's no way you can break.
We go from 64 to 52,
Yeah,
something like that.
yes. But because you want a nice soft end also,
Right.
that's why we don't felt as much as this.
Yeah, this feels a little rough.
Here you have a 30%. It is rough here, but it's not rough when it's finished.
Oh, okay.
It's like I said, this is just after fooling. But from here, there is 4 or 5 more machines that the
Wow.
cloth is gonna go through. And when you see this at the end, if I have something upstairs,
Right.
remember this, and you see when I show you the one upstairs, you say, wow,
Okay.
it's the same. It's different.
Okay.
We can add some more fooling percentages and make a little bit more
Right.
tight. So I'm sure that, you know, when we gonna running this new prototype, you're gonna see something different than before. For sure you're gonna like it, and at that point you can make a decision if you
Yeah.
want to go more, you know,
Yeah.
more tight, add some more fooling percentages, or make it more compact. We're running the cloth probably 3 or 4 times into the napping machine on one side, and less time in the back, because you know the tricky part is when you napping something. Let's say that you're giving 3 runs to the face, and then you try to do the back. The back will steal the face.
Oh,
It becomes very unbalanced.
I see.
So you have to be very, very, very careful when you're doing that. You have to understand how the process works very well, because if you're running, say, okay, I see, oh, I like the nap that I just generated right now on the face. Now I got to do the back. As soon as I touch the back, if I don't change settings and few other things, I'm stealing the face into the back. So it's creating a challenge. Each machine is doing a different step. Then you got the one at the end that will eliminate all this mechanical tension, which we call sponging, which is basically a process to steam and vibration that vibrate.
That's what sponging is.
Yes, vibration. So the cloth now, if it was pulled into the previous machine, through that process, it will come back to the normal state. To maintain the direction,
Yes.
we steam brushing. We're running into this machine here with steam, and brushing in one direction will keep
That's our directional nap.
the nap in the directions.
And that helps us to have water
Yes.
flow down the garment.
And then, yeah, so we add this additional passage, which was not done before, in order to give you more direction. We came up with all these things just for one reason, because we want to make sure that we do everything here and you don't have to do anything.
You're going to go through every stage. How many stages is there?
Oh, gosh, it probably 30, 40. Depends on, some fabrics basically hit every single piece of equipment. This finishing department was creating, it's made by an Italian company. It's creating basically to give all different type of finishing. So you can go from high-end finishing to very rough finishing. So you have a lot. The swing is big. From here to there, I mean, you can do basically whatever you want. So that's why you see all this equipment from downstairs and upstairs. So every single machine that gives you something different. And then if you like and you want to stop there, you don't go far. You just say, okay, that's looks good. If you don't like it, you want to make some change, you go to the next step. So each machine gives you basically a lot of options when it comes to finish a fabric. You're not going to see anything like this in the United States, because basically this was created to compete with European company and outside Europe. So that's why you have a